evening, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Candidates Forum for the Office of Commissioner of Finance for the City of Saratoga Springs. There are two candidates on the ballot. Both candidates were invited and both accepted the invitation, and they are participating. This event was organized by the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County. It will be recorded and posted on the League's website. League rules require that if a candidate forum is recorded, it must be rebroadcast in its entirety. My name is Linda McKenney. I am a member of the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County. I live in the town of Northumberland, and I will be the moderator tonight. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, volunteer political organization dedicated to the informed and responsible participation of citizens in government. The League never supports or opposes any political party or candidate. That has been League policy since 1920. Membership is open to anyone 16 and over, so please consider joining your local league. We have received questions from the public in advance. They were reviewed by League members and selected to be representative and to avoid redundancy. Questions of a personal nature are never included. None of the candidates have seen the questions before tonight. Candidates, this is your opportunity to let voters know your stance on these topics and how you will address the issues facing this community. Please do not waste valuable time tearing down or labeling your opponent. Deal with the facts. In your closing statements, absolutely no zingers or gotcha moments. Please do not put your opponent on the spot with no chance for a reply. We have a timer for this evening's event, who will be seen by the candidates on screen. The timer will hold up signs for the candidate to glance at to let them know how much time they have left. Green means you have 1 minute left. Yellow means 30 seconds left. And red means stop, time is up. If you continue to speak, you will be interrupted. The names of the two candidates for Commissioner of Finance for Saratoga Springs are, in alphabetical order, Schaefer Gaston and Joanne Kiernan. Now it is time to hear their 2-minute opening statements. We have drawn lots to determine the order, and the first to speak is Schaefer. So go ahead and unmute yourself and give us your opening statement.
Hi, my name's Schaefer Gaston. I'm a former submarine officer, originally from Mobile, Alabama. That's actually how I came here. I was stationed here twice at the Nuclear Power Training Unit in 2006 and 2010. My kids liked it so much they decided to be born here, and then that bore out when I got out of the Navy. This was the place to come back to. I like the environment. I like the city and the country. It's been a great place to raise my children, and I'm very interested in giving back to the community. Since leaving the submarine force, I've worked as an operating engineer and a project manager. I do have a master's in industrial engineering as well as an MBA, and I'm a project management professional who currently sits on the board of the Upstate New York Project Management Institute. In my role as a project manager, I've guided others, I've guided other project managers, and I bring a lot of technical skill from the industrial engineering and the business administration side. But more importantly, I believe I bring a lot of communications management and stakeholder management skills to the table that can be used in my community. I have volunteered for numerous things since getting out into the civilian world, PTA boards, other nonprofits. I try to put in my time where I can. I try to instill that in my children as well. And I try to instill in those around me a sense of community and a sense of giving back. I'm very interested and motivated to continue serving my community. I currently sit on the Zoning Board of Appeals, which has given me a great insight into the way City Hall works, and especially the way land use works or sometimes doesn't work in this city. I'm interested in bringing that long-term planning skill set, that stakeholder communication skill set to the city council table to serve the people of Saratoga Springs. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanne, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Joanne Kiernan, running for Commissioner of Finance. I've lived in Saratoga Springs for the last 22 years with my husband, Todd, and this is where we raised our two children, Aiden and Will. We're grateful for all that the community has given us. I have over 25 years experience in accounting and finance working as a CPA, and I currently have the honor of serving as deputy mayor. I believe the commissioner of finance should be educating our commissioners and the public on our city's finances as a whole with full transparency. We no longer can operate on year-to-year budgets. We need a full financial forecasting tool. Commissioners need to understand and see how decisions they make today will affect the future of the city. I know the job is more than numbers. I understand the importance of a safe community for all who visit, live, and work here, as well as ensuring a thriving downtown. I will continue to work with community leaders and organizations to address challenges that affect our community, such as homelessness, affordability, short-term rentals, reducing truck traffic in our downtown and neighborhoods, and advancing sustainability. I served on the school board for 9 years. I understand good governance and leadership. Leaders should always be seeking common ground to find workable solutions for all. I will always put the city before party, and I'm grounded in common sense and committed to common ground, and that's what I'll bring to the finance office. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now it's time for the questions. So candidates, you have up to 1.5 minutes to respond to a question. You're not required to respond. You may pass if you wish. Each candidate will be allowed 2 opportunities to request an additional minute during this question and answer session for a rebuttal to expand on your answer. Please hold up your hand and wait to be acknowledged by me before you begin your extra minute. This can only be done during the Q&A session. It may not be used for your closing statement. Remember not to interrupt one another. Timers and I will keep track of the number of extra minutes used. Questions will be directed to the candidates in rotation, so you each get a chance to respond first. And feel free to ask me to repeat any of the questions. I'm happy to do that. So, Joanne, you're going to get the first question. What do you think are the 2 most important issues that face Saratoga Springs today? And you're muted. Oh, there you go.
I think our city is facing serious financial strain due to the lack of long-term fiscal planning and accountability in the budgeting process. This has led to some tough decisions in the budget cycle, including potential cuts to essential city services and reduced support for non-for-profits organizations that support our residents. These organizations play a vital role in filling service gaps, supporting families, helping homelessness, feeding those in needs. It isn't just programs that suffer, it's the people. So we can't continue to operate reactively, addressing shortfalls year after year without a sustainable plan. Our city needs a transparent, forward-looking budget strategy that reflects our values and invests in the long-term health and resilience of our communities. I think that's the most important thing right now.
Okay, thank you. Schaefer?
So the 2 most important issues, I believe, are land use and affordability. I understand there is a lot of immediate concern regarding our finances, regarding our planning and our ability to fund services into the future, but addressing land use and affordability are going to address the fundamental root causes that get us to where we need to be financially. In terms of land use, we have a lot of demands on public facilities. We have a lot of desires that we're looking to fund, but it's being done in a vacuum by department. Our comprehensive plan doesn't really take into account things that we knew about even back in 2015 when it was first approved, that we knew our public facilities were going to need. We deal with the land use, we deal with the ability to generate revenue, generate business, and the affordability to allow our residents to be able to afford to live here and work here, and our workers to be able to afford to work here and live here. That's going to become a virtuous cycle that's going to buoy our tax base. When people can be here, they can spend money here, that raises our revenue. When they can afford to live here, that flattens out our property value, and that gets us in a positive cycle of economic development that then will allow us to fund those services that make our city so desirable to live in. Thank you.
Thank you. And okay, Schaefer, you're going to get this next question first. Seniors make up about 44% of Saratoga Springs population. The current Commissioner of Finance has proposed eliminating funding for the Saratoga Senior Center, along with other nonprofit organizations. Do you support this proposal, and why or why not?
So first, I think it's important to clarify the proposal from the current Commissioner of Finance was the comprehensive budget, which the process is that's sort of the opening salvo. And my understanding is the thought process that went into that was we don't want to raise taxes a cent more than we have to. Therefore, we're going to cut down to the bone. Do I agree with that approach? Not really. I would say you either go all out with the taxes or you go all out with the cuts rather than mix it and let the rest of the city council figure it out. However, I don't disagree with her reasoning in putting that out there. Now, as part of the budgeting process, and I believe this is ongoing right now, we're not through the budgeting process yet. We haven't even heard from public safety in their hearing, which is far and away the largest single budget line item by department in our city. I believe the movement and I believe the statement by the Commissioner of Finance is to intend to fully fund the senior center and other related services, but all the commissioners have to get on board. The finance commissioner didn't want to just throw out the tax increase on her own. She wanted to make sure it was a unified effort. And in that, I agree. I do support bringing in more revenue, slight pain to the majority of residents, but it funds those key services that our city needs to continue to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanne?
Would you mind repeating the question?
Not at all.
Thank you.
Sure. Seniors make up about 44% of Saratoga Springs population. The current Commissioner of Finance has proposed eliminating funding for the Saratoga Senior Center, along with other nonprofit organizations. Do you support this proposal, and why or why not?
No, I don't support it. I was pretty shocked at the cuts that were made in the comprehensive budget. I believe if we were this fiscally strapped, we should have had these conversations months ago. So we could have come up with a plan. I was happy to hear yesterday that the senior center funding won't be cut. And I do hope we can reestablish funding for all the not-for-profits that we have had, that we've supported for years, in some form and at some level. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and so Joanne, you're going to be up first for this next question. There is a lack of housing for artists, students, seasonal workers, and others of low income. How would you support looking into finding or building accommodations for this population?
Affordable housing is definitely an issue, not just unique to Saratoga. Under the mayor's leadership, we have been certified a pro-housing community. So that opens us up to grant opportunities for the city. And we're currently applying for a technical assistance to grow pro-housing community grant, which will be for a housing needs assessment. We currently have over approximately 1,800 affordable units that are either built or in the process of being built. I think one of the problems with affordable housing is it's a lottery, and anyone in the country can enter the lottery and take up a unit. We do need true workforce housing, and the mayor's office has worked with Paul Feldman from the Saratoga Housing Authority, and the development out in Allen Drive actually has 40% of the units that is true workforce housing, that the workers in Saratoga County will have first option to have to be able to live there. And I also think home ownership is an issue, true home ownership in the city. And we've been working with our planning department and looking at other surrounding communities and see what they do to address this issue, whether it's land banks. No, thank you.
If you want to add more, you can choose to use your red card. If you had more that you wanted to say, you can have another minute.
No, that's okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Schaefer?
Would you mind just repeating the question for me?
Not at all. There is a lack of housing for artists, students, seasonal workers, and others of low income. How would you support looking into finding or building accommodations for this population?
So, yes, housing is an important piece of it, and we have made great strides in the city of Saratoga Springs in finding affordable housing. Finding, I say, constructing, building, legislating through policy, and working with developers to make that happen. What we have to consider is it's not just about building a raw number of units of affordable housing. We have to have a pathway to move up. You want the person in the affordable housing unit to be able to move up to that mid-size home. If you go all affordable and then all large housing, you get kind of a dumbbell shaped housing situation. Additionally, we do have to appreciate affordability isn't just about the rent. You can pay the rent, but if you can't live your life, if you can't access services, if you can't access transportation, it's not really that affordable. And then when you move up to that workforce housing, as was mentioned, you're not going to be able to make the leap because you're not going to be able to afford the other things that you need. How do we get out of that? Well, to jump back to my answer from a couple of questions ago, it once again comes down to land use. It comes down to zoning appropriately so that you can get that whole spectrum of housing, all the way from the base, all the way up to your large, derisively called McMansions, so that people have a chance to move up and people have a chance to live and own their homes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Schaefer, you're up first for this next question. Do you know of any plans being made to increase the availability of City of Saratoga public transportation, and how would you support this?
When you ask it that way, it makes it sound like maybe there's some secret cabal of people planning, and I don't think that's the case. The CDTA is very transparent about what they've added, and they have made great additions to our city. In the previously mentioned affordable housing units up on Allen Drive, considerations were given to transportation. The CDTA does provide us a bike sharing program, which definitely helps not only our tourists and our local visitors, but also people live in the city to get around. How would I increase that? Well, you have to engage with the CDTA. I have, reached out and had a couple of tentative conversations as a prospective city council member, and Saratoga County actually provides an outsized funding chunk to the CDTA because a lot of that is actually funded through property sales, and per capita, our real estate's kind of expensive, so we're actually buying a lot more than we're getting from the CDTA. The CDTA is definitely open to providing more. We as a city just have to revise our plans and make sure they understand where it is and where it's needed. That's done with studies, that's done with traffic studies, population studies, and workforce needs. We just have to present that information, and I think that's a worthwhile investment to do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Joanne?
The mayor's office just had a meeting with CDTA this week. They're implementing flex service. I'm not sure the exact name of it, but what that will be is you'll call CDTA, and within 30 minutes, they're going to pick you up at a designated spot, and then they're going to drop you, which adds a lot more places to be dropped off versus just a current route, like 451 or 452. With the mayor's office, when we discuss this, well, there will be training sessions, so people will be able, they're going to have one at the library. You can reach out to the mayor's office to see where they're going to be, because we had asked them to have more than one, so the people can learn how to use this flex system. One place we asked them also to look into is to go to the Wesley community. So people will be able to go to the grocery store or to the doctor's office. So it's a new service. It'll be new to Saratoga. So keep keep your eye out for that. And again, reach out to the mayor's office so you can learn about the training sessions and learn how to use the program. Thank you.
Thank you. And Joanne, you'll be up first. Oh, yes, you want another minute? Schaefer? Okay, just one sec. Schaefer wants another minute. You all set? Okay, go ahead.
All right, yeah. So this is a response or an add-on or whatever. This isn't a fire back, but I do want to just say one thing that I want to be clear on in some question. We do have a lot of these services, and yes, the flex service by CDTA is part of the package of services that they offer. We often don't do a great job as a city. I'm happy to hear that there is going to be some training to residents, but I would just counsel, my potential fellow commissioners or even my opponent, should she defeat me, we need to make sure that we have a really good communication plan. One thing that I get door to door is I hear about complaints of things that we don't have in this city that I know we have because I read, the website and I pay attention, but the average citizen doesn't have time to follow all that. So we have got to communicate these services when they come to our city. This is honestly the first that I've heard that we were bringing it. So we definitely have to get that word out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Schaefer. Okay, yes, so Joanne, you're up first for this next question. Homelessness continues to be an issue for our community. Do you know what plans are currently in place for a year-round shelter?
Homeless is a very complex issue. And I know the county's looking to build a permanent code blue. And as far as plans for a permanent shelter, no, we're hoping that we can add on to that eventually. We will be, I believe we have committed to fund the low barrier shelter for 2026. So that's something that we will continue to work on to find a permanent shelter year round.
Okay, thank you. Schaefer?
So the question is just if you could repeat that, please.
Sure, absolutely, sure. Homelessness continues to be an issue for our community. Do you know what plans are currently in place for a year-round shelter?
In short, to parallel my opponent, yes, it is something that we are trying to do, but do we have a firm stakes in the ground draw out for it? No. I agree that a lot of people are looking at this. It is a county and city issue, as was alluded to. We do need to be working proactively with the county. I believe it is becoming an issue that the county is seeing, that the county board of supervisors is seeing. So I'm optimistic that the rest of Saratoga County will stop looking at it as just those Saratoga Springs people problem. And to be fair, they have made overtures, but there is a lot more that they can do. I do know that the city of Saratoga Springs stands ready to work with the county and our nonprofits to fund not solutions, but permanent services when we get the money available and when we get the land available. And I'm definitely in support of that. But in short, the answer is not exactly.
Okay, thank you. And Schaefer, you're up first for the next one. Saratoga Springs has changed greatly since the last comprehensive plan. Please explain your position on updating the long-term plan.
Well, as I've mentioned elsewhere, the last comprehensive plan was issued in 2015. That was pre-COVID, pre the rise of work from home. And that said, not to disparage the people who worked on it, but there's a lot that was missing that we knew about even then. We knew we needed a larger police station. We knew we were going to be looking at transferring public works assets. We knew we had to extend fire and EMS services eastward. That public land use did not make it into the comprehensive plan. And now we're left trying to find how are we going to cover all these needs. The process for that is not fast, but it needs to be done, and it needs to be done sooner rather than later. The process is we empower a panel of citizens, stakeholders from a whole spectrum. We get them together, we get them to update it once we give them some guidelines. I would say that those guidelines need to be more just minor tweaks to the zoning and property use rules. It needs to be a comprehensive look at our public facilities. We need to incorporate subordinate plans that have been issued since, including our tree strategy, including our complete streets plan. We need to roll all that up so that we can have a good UDO that builders and residents can all agree, even if it's not 100% of what they want, it's 80% of what they want, and it gets us going where we need to be in the future.
Okay, thank you. Joanne?
I put in the budget last year money to have the comp plan looked at. It is expensive and it is a major undertaking. So we pared it down to just look at 4 areas, the gateways into the city, especially South Broadway with the sewer going in, the west side because there's a lot of development going on over there, and to look at the housing needs and the zoning. Unfortunately, that money was cut out of the budget. So we're currently looking into grant opportunities. Again, we probably will, the goal would be to focus on these 4 areas. And we will be applying for a grant to hopefully give us some money so we can get this started. It is a big process with a lot of community input, but I agree with Schaefer. This does need to happen and it does need to become a priority of the city. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so Joanne, you'll be up first for this next question. What is your financial vision for the city, given rising inflation and job loss trends, and how will these challenges be addressed in next year's budget?
Well, my priority will be to gain a comprehensive understanding of the city's financial position, and I plan to closely review the upcoming budget and work in collaboration with the finance team and all the city departments to come up with a practical forecasting tool. This will allow us to better evaluate how today's decisions may impact the city's financial stability and long-term goals. I think the council needs to come up with priorities as a whole, and I think we should build the budget around that.
Okay, thank you. Schaefer?
So my vision, right? I will have been successful as a finance commissioner and I will have been successful as a member of the city council if we maintain our solid bond rating, we maintain our low debt limit. The solid bond rating, the AA plus bond rating, that's our reserve. That's what keeps us safe. I mentioned earlier, I'm originally from Alabama. A large number of municipalities in my home state went right up to their debt limit. And then when a pipe broke or a storm happened, they were knocked on their butt and they had an unsustainable financial situation that continues to haunt them decades after the disaster occurs. That may require cuts, that may require some uncomfortable decisions and compromises, but I will hold the line on that because while it might be painful this year, it might be painful for 2 years, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, my children, your children, everyone's children will be thanking us for having that discipline so that when that disaster occurs, we're able to go to the bank, get the money we need to keep operating as a city under our own power and not put into some sort of trustee situation or something where we don't control our own destiny. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Schaefer, you're up first for this next one. How do you envision working with the mayor and other commissioners regarding various issues within the city? And for example, would an issue with the city water supply be something you would want to know about?
Yes. So specifically with the regards to the water issue, I think it's important that we don't need to know everyone else's business all the time. If we come to each other saying every time we have a problem with a chicken little attitude, it's going to eat up all our bandwidth and we won't get anything done. That said, when we do have a formal report, when we have completed staff work that indicates a problem, I do think, whether it's my department or Public Works or anyone, we do need to elevate that as quickly as possible to the city council level so that we can make good decisions about where to go. More broadly, working with other commissioners, including the mayor, it's about stakeholder management, communication, things that I bring to the table as a project manager. Part of that is formality, understanding that words mean things. I think often, not particularly at the city council, but including at the city council, we use imprecise language because it's easier, not to intentionally obfuscate, but the message gets muddled. I, as a city council member, will strive to both emulate and enforce formality at the city council table so that we understand what each other is saying and we're not talking past each other, we're talking towards each other so that we can come up with a solution we can all live with. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Joanne?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. How do you envision working with the mayor and other commissioners regarding various issues within the city? For example, would an issue with the city water supply be something you would want to know about?
Well, I believe in collaboration and not confrontation. And I trust that there's a lot going on in the city in all the departments. So I trust that the commissioner will bring things forward when they believe it's the proper time to bring it forward. And that's what I would do as well. I wouldn't bring, as Schaefer said, I wouldn't bring everything to the council, but I will be open. Listen, we all support the city. We're all responsible for the city. So we have to all work together.
Okay, thank you. So we actually only have one more question. And Joanne, you will be first to answer this. So you both have kind of answered this question in ways, but maybe you just want to expound on it. What makes you the best candidate for the position of Commissioner of Finance?
Am I first?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, you're first.
I have over 25 years experience working in accounting and finance as a CPA. And I'm currently deputy mayor, so I see firsthand the decisions that are made in City Hall and how they affect the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Schaefer?
All right, let me prep my brag sheet real quick. So I'm running for this position in that I'm applying for a job with the voters of Saratoga Springs. To apply for that job, I cite my resume and I line that up against the position of Commissioner of Finance and a member of the Saratoga Springs City Council. As I mentioned in my opening intro, I have a master's in industrial engineering. I have a master's of business administration, financial planning, project management. These are things that I do. Knowing how to collaborate with stakeholders, source their requirements, and come up with a solution that maybe is not 100% of what everybody wants, but it's 80% of what everybody can deal with is what I do for a living. In addition to that, I have extensive leadership experience from my time in the Navy. I'm used to reviewing things that require, a second set of eyes because they have to be in compliance, right? When you're talking about finance, when you're talking about IT, you can't micromanage, but you have to have that sort of, financial security spidey sense to know when you need to take a second look, when you need to get another set of eyes on it to keep yourself or keep the city from standing into danger from a compliance perspective. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so now it's time for closing statements. And Schaefer, you will go first and you each have 1 minute.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching this tonight or when you watch it in the future on YouTube. I'm Schaefer Gaston. I've talked about my qualifications. We've had a few questions that go to my vision and my priorities as a city council member. To look at where I stand on more issues, I have my website out there. You can always reach out to me. You can look at my endorsements and understand that if someone has endorsed me, I probably line up with what their vision is for what a good civil society looks like. I hope I've earned your vote and your support tonight. If you're still on the fence, you've got another couple of weeks to figure it out. Weigh your options. Look at me, my opponent, look at everyone else running for the city council, and figure out who is most in line with what your expectations are in terms of qualifications and experience, as well as vision for the city and where you want us to end up, not a year from now, but 10 or 15 years from now. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanne?
Thank you. With over 25 years experience as a CPA, I bring financial expertise to our city finance office urgently needs. Now more than ever, we must have a qualified professional managing our city finances. The 2026 comprehensive budget highlights a troubling lack of long-term financial planning. Saratoga Springs simply cannot continue to operate on year-to-year budgets. We need a clear, forward-looking financial strategy that ensures sustainability and stability. As Finance Commissioner, I will provide full transparency into the city's financial position and educate both the City Council and the public on how today's decision impacts our future. My top priority is to establish a long-range financial plan that supports responsible growth and secures Saratoga Springs' financial health for years to come. I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. I want to thank both of you for participating in this event and helping to educate the voters. I also want to thank the public for submitting questions and all the viewers who have taken the time to watch this event and learn about the candidates. Don't forget to vote. Early voting starts on Saturday, October 25th and goes through Sunday, November 2nd. There are multiple early voting locations within Saratoga County. Hours are Monday and Wednesday, 12 noon to 8 p.m. All other days, the hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Election day is Tuesday, November 4th. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can find your voting location and information about absentee ballots and early mail ballots by calling the Board of Elections of Saratoga County, going on their website, or using the League's vote411.org. Thank you, everyone, and good night.